What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. This will likely be my last update for the year 2023, so we're going to do something special and going to talk about some of the possibilities for the market moving forward. And then over the weekend, if you're a member of the Stocks channel, look for the members only video because I'm going to be going into a great deep dive analysis of what you should be expecting in the stock market for the year 2024. Now, finishing up the year for 2023, you can see it's been an amazing year, up nearly 67% over the past 12 months. And I do believe we are going to beat this next year in Bank Trade Alerts. I do think 2024 is going to be an incredible trading year and definitely a year it's going to be beneficial to be a trader instead of simply a buy and hold investor. So overall, I think 2023 did confuse a lot of people. I think there were a lot of bears early in the year that got caught offsides and were very surprised by the bull market. But as you know, if you're in any of my services, this was the expectation, and I did give a very good chance the S&P 500 would head towards 480 by the end of the year. So a lot of those predictions have played out, but it's more important as a trader that you let the chart do all the talking. And I went over many times throughout the year why we could tell this was a bull market year, especially looking at that weekly chart and the bull breakout from the bear market. So we're absolutely crushing this market on Bank Trade Alerts. So if you want to come crush the market with us, you can find out how to join Bank by clicking on the links below. 2024 is going to be an amazing trading year, so it's not one you're going to want to miss. All right, so jumping back over to SPY, the first thing I want to talk about is the Santa Claus rally, which I define as the last 5 trading days of December into the first 2 to 3 trading days of January. And by now you can clearly see that we're getting the Santa Claus rally, and the question a lot of you are probably asking is whether or not you think the gains will stick. So I want to start out today's episode with just simply looking at a zoomed out view of SPY, and you can see first of all I drew out a path of what is likely coming, and the first thing is that we are likely going to see the S&P trying to push towards the previous all-time high and likely try to break it and head up higher towards the low 480s. And the reason I say this is because the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq 100 have already made all-time highs, so it's very likely the S&P 500 is going to join them. Now, after we get that all-time high and we finish the Santa rally, I do not believe those gains are going to stick, and I do believe we are going to see a very treacherous Q1 in 2024 that is very likely going to push us down towards 440 yet again to test that demand zone. Now, when you ask the question of whether or not we're expecting a bull market or a bear market next year, I think it's a lot simpler to assume it is going to be a bull market year until we see some type of black swan event. That is the same thing I've said in 2023, that we are going higher barring any black swan events. And if you follow me, you know that I say it's pointless trying to predict a black swan event. You simply need to react to them when they show their face. So 2024 is likely going to be a continuation of the bull market barring any of those black swan events. And I do think it's worth noting that we still do have an inverted yield curve, so it is still possible that we are heading towards some kind of financial crisis. But again, it is a loser's game trying to guess when those times are going to come. It is much simpler to trade what the chart is giving us, managing our risk around the critical levels, and if we get a black swan event, we need to adapt immediately. So bull market for 2024 until we see some type of black swan event, and if we get one, then we'll adjust accordingly. And yes, a black swan event would likely be the end of this bull, and we would likely go back into a bear market. So I'm not ruling out a black swan event, and I think it is possible we could get a black swan event. I'm simply saying it's better to react than trying to predict. You can lose a lot of money trying to guess when a black swan event is going to be, especially during a strong bull trend like what we currently have. So while I am drawing out a path here, this is just a prediction and not something you can trade. You'll need price action confirmation, and you'll need the chart to allow this to play out, and then you can react to it as we see it. This is simply to give you some kind of expectation of what could be coming and something you may want to start incorporating into your trade plan so that you know exactly when to get risk off if we start to break down. So just a zoomed out view, expect the Santa rally to finish out in early January. We'll likely have some remnants of people jumping in near the top, and I'm calling it a top because we are getting overly greedy sentiment, and usually when we get that extreme greed, we're closer to a top than a bottom. So I think it's very realistic to expect the market to be reaching some kind of local top here in the very near future. And then because of that extreme greed that we're currently seeing and the bullish sentiment, a lot of this vertical rally has already priced in a lot of great news, which means there's going to be plenty of opportunity for downside moves if we start to see any panicking. This rally has pulled a lot of cash in off the sidelines, and once that cash comes in from the sidelines, there's now a lot more people that can start to panic sell. So it won't take much to start getting impulsive selling on high volume. And as you know, I always say the bulls take the stairs and the bears take the elevator. And lately it's been looking like the bulls are the ones in the elevator going straight up on a very vertical rally. So at some point, these vertical rallies usually end with a vertical downside move, and that's what I'm currently predicting for early next year. And I do believe a lot of that downside pressure is going to last through the first quarter, which is likely going to take us out into sometime in March. Now from there, I think there's a good chance if we see buyers at the demand zone and we see buyers stepping in, then we're going to continue that bull market. And as I said before, that's barring any black swan events. Because of course, if any black swan events come up, then we can just go back into a bear market and we'll slice right through that demand zone. So again, a lot of this is speculation. Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen. This is simply something that I would be looking for. And once we get to that demand zone, we'll let the price action do all the talking and see whether or not we're getting buyers at that level. Now, of course, it's possible none of this plays out. I just think this is a great chance that that gap is going to fill and we're going to test that breakout at the demand zone. Again, nobody knows for sure, so don't just assume this is going to happen because I threw some lines on a chart. And then the next thing I want to look at is just a monthly view, and this is on log scale, and this is currently going all the way back towards 1995, all the way up to present day. And the first thing I want you to pay attention to is this giant consolidation double top into a double bottom that we had from the year 1998 all the way to the lows in the year 2009. And if you know anything about that year, that was the great financial crisis from the end of 2007 and the great financial crisis bear market in all of 2008, and we didn't bottom until 2009. So the one thing I want you to pay attention to is during that period, we did rally back up to the previous all-time highs on the SPX, and that was all she wrote before the bear market started. So do not rule that out as a possibility in the current day situation where we had the bear market last year in 2022. We rallied all the way back up to the previous all-time high, and from there, I am not ruling out the possibility that we're going to see some kind of long-term sideways consolidation, and this would be if we did get the black swan event and another financial crisis, which we cannot rule out due to the extreme conditions of all of the global inflation and the inverted yield curve. It is always possible for a financial black swan event to come out when we have that current situation. So again, this is not a prediction by any sort of the imagination. This is simply showing you that this has happened before in history. And while history doesn't always repeat, we know that it often does rhyme. So do not rule this out as a possibility if we start to see a rejection from the previous all-time high. So this is just something to be aware of, and the more time we can break out of this consolidation wedge and spend more time above SPX 4800, the less likely it's going to be that we get a double top rejection back down to the range low around SPX 3500. So the longer SPX can break above that old all-time high and stay above it, it is going to start invalidating the same situation we had back in 2007 to 2009. Don't rule it out until the price action tells us to, because it's still a very valid scenario. So if we jump back over to SPY, that's going to mean you want to pay extra close attention on SPY between this zone that I have here at 477 all the way up to the low 480s, because this is the previous all-time high zone of resistance that the bulls need to break. Now, if the bulls can break above 480 and then turn 480 into support and start running higher towards 500, then we are likely going into a very powerful secular bull market that is just continuing off of the weekly 200 period moving average, which is exactly where the SPX bottomed last year when we hit that support zone. So right now, the base case is going to be the all-time high into a correction and a continuation of the bull market, and we'll have to assess whether or not something changes along the way. But this is a very realistic expectation that I would be paying attention to as we approach this very critical resistance zone. So again, this is likely the last update for the year. I will be back to the normal schedule starting next week in January. And as I said earlier in the video, I think 2024 is going to be an amazing trading year. So if you didn't crush the market this year with us, consider joining us to crush the market next year, and you can do that through Bank Trade Alerts and the Stocks Channel Discord server. Bank Trade Alerts is going to send you all of your buy and sell alerts directly via email and text message, so you never have to guess what position you're supposed to be in. And the Stocks Channel Discord is where you get access to all of my intraday updates and analysis and the members only videos. So start mentally preparing for a great trading year, get all of your trade plan put together, and get ready to be very patient and disciplined, because it's very likely going to be a very volatile election year. And as you know, as a trader, we love volatility because it gives us plenty of opportunities for very profitable trading. So with the election year and all of the volatility I'm expecting, I think it's going to be an amazing trading year, and I think we're going to do even better than we did this year. So once more, you can see we crushed it this year, up nearly 67%. And if you want to come crush the market with us, you can find out how to join any of my services by clicking on the links in the description of this video. So I hope you're all enjoying the holidays and the time away from the market. We'll be back and ready to go early next year, so look out for more video updates and more analysis on the stock market. So thank you for watching, everybody, and as always, I will see you in the next episode.